I'd like to introduce Martin Hannigan, who will be presenting the PeeringDB update. Marty is the founder and chief portfolio officer of Lightboard Realty and is coming to us today from Boston. So thank you, Marty.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks for having me. Really happy to be here, and it's good to see everybody. And there's Tigger. I'm not sure if I'm happy to see Tigger yet, but he's here. So this is a PeeringDB update. I'll try and be as brief as I can. What is PeeringDB? It's a rich information source related to interconnection, effectively how to tie us all together and make sense of networking. It supports location data, network real estate, where can I go, who are at these locations, what colo providers or whatnot. Gives you a bird's eye view that you can zoom in on with any of your geo tools like Google Earth and do things like find handholds and manholes and do things like meet in the street and avoid cross connects, but we'll talk about that in some other presentation. So news from the front line or the volunteers. As you can see on the box on the right, we use GitHub as our main workflow tool. You can participate, observe, do what you want. You can go to the GitHub and look up the PeeringDB repository and join in if you'd like. Today, we're just going to talk briefly about some UI changes. Something I'm really excited about is the KMZ export feature. We're going to dig into a little bit. Search improvements, some beta testing needs that we have, and then some call for volunteers. So from a web UI perspective, we're trying to make things a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and functional. The three big changes that we're about to implement are better device presentation, a little bit more clarity in terms of or commonality between PDB on a telephone or an iPad or a laptop or a big screen, common color palette to kind of keep things flowing really nicely visually, and dashboard options that allow you to organize information in the way you like to see it. So you'll be able to kind of store some of your searches and whatnot. And then lazy loading is a default that you can type in a few characters, and you've seen this in many web apps that will start to load lists of pre-populated text strings that you can select and move a little quicker than normal. And the most exciting part of the presentation today for me is this, the KMZ features. So I do in my day job, a lot of site research and looking for sites for various reasons. And I spent a lot of time in KMZs and other types of tools. And recently, PeeringDB implemented a feature where we now export all of our facility data into a common KMZ and allow everyone to download it. On the landing page of PeeringDB.com at the bottom, I believe it says Google Earth KMZ, and every 24 hours that file is refreshed, so you have the latest and greatest updates from a location perspective. The data is also importable to Google Maps. Have fun driving around in live maps with your overlay and doing some site selection work or doing site tours and whatnot, and various other useful things. The image that we're displaying here is a representation of a merged use of the data. So I spend lots of time not only with the facility data, but looking at things like floodplains and flood risks and whatnot. And here I've done a few things. So since we're in Charlotte and I built a ton of infrastructure here, I was very familiar with how the maps were laid out, and in particular, some of the fiber optic options. I merged the KMZ data into my FEMA overlay, which is also live and available from the FEMA website. And voila, it gave me effectively a mapping of all of the FEMA stated insurance and flood risks. And you can see this was a surprise to me. This was something new. In the middle of the screen here, there's a blue kind of carve out. That's a creek that's just down the way here that my understanding is it's been recently overflowing, and it's on FEMA's radar to issue some kind of opinion. Whether that's going to be a change in flood zone or not, I don't know, but super useful. You can overlay your KMLs from your network providers onto this data and get views on where long haul routes are running, north, south, east, west, where regional fiber is running, depending on if your provider or your partner is going to release that data. But super useful. Later this year, we're going to continue to extrapolate on the success of what we've already done. the searches, we're going to integrate export into search. And what I mean by that is you'll be able to search on something like a locale, say Massachusetts, and what comes up in that search will be exported as kind of a unique data set so that you're not downloading, the entire world. And this is the entire world of all registered PDB locations, or as we speak in PDB parlance, facilities data. And then improved visual attributes. We're going to make some small changes where with the metadata that you see in the box that's up at the top of the screen, you get a view of the website and networks that are resident in the facility that you've hovered over and you've clicked on. We're gonna make some changes to that list and try and make it more relevant and more more valuable to you when you click on the facility, so that you don't have to take two steps and bring up the metadata and go to the facility, that it's going to give you a more rich idea of the value of a facility to you, the user. The other attribute that's on our radar is the facility identifiers, or the pins. The pin attributes basically identify where all the facilities are from a geolocation perspective, and that's the metadata kind of lives behind that. We're going to change the pins to be a little bit smaller but unique with respect to we're going to make them the PeeringDB logo, so that if you integrate PeeringDB data into your data, you can actually contrast them a little bit better. I know that when I included the pins in my data versus PDB data got a little confused, and I had to make some changes to make sure that I was contrasting right. PDB doesn't have every usable or relevant data center or building address in it, but the more we can kind of do these contrasts and recommend that people create their facility records, the better the data will be, and the more opportunity to interconnect that we'll create. So super excited about that. Search, and just a disclaimer, all of this stuff is pending release. Search is getting better. Location support in the beta. You can type in a city and state and get relevant objects. You can search by object, which that's the example here. Net is the object. In Charlotte, North Carolina is the location support, and voila. There's a little bit too much information here, but with Boolean operators and or XOR if, we should be able to refine that down even further, and with the export, get some really super rich results for everyone to view. We need beta testers. So recently we made some efforts to normalize we have a beta environment and a production environment like most folks do. The beta environment was a little far from the production environment in terms of data refresh and whatnot. So we've pushed up that data refresh to be within 1 hour of the production data site, so that if you're not doing a lot of writing, and that's the negative of a beta site, is you won't be able to do writes through the beta interface. But if you're just searching and doing research, we'd really appreciate it if you'd use the beta site, so that we can learn of problems that you may have or things that you don't like early on, and integrate some fixes to those. We have an easy feedback mechanism. There's a box on the front page. You click a link, it pops open a comment box, and you send it on through, and just like error messages in your web browsers, it goes direct to the developers so they can see what the users are saying. You can try it out at beta.peeringdb.com. If you have any questions about it, you can give us a shout at pc@peeringdb.com as well. We have a call for volunteers. Our admin committee is looking for a little bit of help, as it always is. The admin committee answers support tickets from everyone that has questions or runs into complications while using PeeringDB. If something doesn't work for you, an ASN doesn't stick or something, support at peeringdb.com is the mechanism, and that's what the admin committee is behind. I'm told it's about 1 hour a week commit to processing tickets. And I know many of the faces in here used to work in the NOC, if some may still work in the NOC. And this is like work that you've done before, and should be a pretty easy 1 hour if you have some time to donate to us. We'd like to thank our volunteers. Number one, PDB wouldn't happen without them. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors. And one sponsor didn't make it up on the slides, H5 and Anthony Stellar. Thank you very much for your support. And we're looking forward to making PDB great again. Questions? Thank you.